Ryegrasses are among the world's most important grasses and exhibit many desirable qualities. There are two species that are used in forage production, perennial and annual. Both are high-quality forage, leafy, palatable, and nutritious for all types of grazing animals.
Perennial ryegrass is in the United States mostly grown in the upper Midwest or the Northeast or certain parts of the Pacific Northwest. Annual ryegrass is mainly grown in states that border the Gulf Coast, but there are some varieties that can be grown and survive the winter even in the Midwest.
Ryegrass, both annual and perennial, have the potential to produce some of the very highest quality that we can get in a grass. It has high yields. It has good characteristics from the standpoint of feeding about any class of livestock.
Ryegrass is relatively easy to establish and can be grown with other forage crops. Prior to planting, a soil test should be taken since both annual and perennial do best when the soil pH is in the range of 6 to 7. Perennial ryegrass can be planted in either spring or late summer, while annual ryegrass is usually planted in late summer or early autumn.
Ryegrass is basically planted in two different methods. It can be planted on a prepared seed bed in early autumn. When that occurs, it often is grown in combination with a small grain such as rye or wheat or oats, possibly an annual clover. Ryegrass also is often planted on the dormant sods of warm season grasses such as Bermuda grass or Bahia grass. In that case, it needs to be planted later in the autumn because you need to wait until the summer grass has stopped growing and won't be competitive with the ryegrass.
One of the great things about ryegrass is it is so easy to establish. This field was originally planted with mixing seed in with a fertilizer truck. You can't miss with it. I mean, you can drill it in with a sod seeder. You can throw it out. You can drag out. It's just, you can't hurt it.
The ryegrass is real easy. I mean, it's just a matter of getting that summer grass down low and then broadcasting it out there and scratching it in, and then hopefully the weather cooperate.
The total amount of nitrogen recommended for ryegrass depends on the situation, but in most cases, at least 120 to 150 units of nitrogen per acre per year are recommended for a pure stand of either perennial or annual ryegrass.
The fertility is always one of the challenges we have is growing as grass farmers. You're always going to have to be working at that. Ryegrass requires nitrogen. If you're not going to utilize fertilizer or a nitrogen source, their clovers can work into that end of it, but you have to have nitrogen for ryegrass.
Ideally, ryegrass should not be initially grazed until forage is 8 to 12 inches tall and should not be grazed closer than about 3 to 4 inches. Rotational grazing can play a key role in the proper management of ryegrass.
And in its growing period, it can handle grazing hard, but we're rotational grazing and it allows me to manage a lot of cattle on grass and utilize it.
Either annual or perennial ryegrass can be cut for hay or silage, but it's important to note that ryegrass forage has a high moisture content that results in slower drying than other forage grasses.
The ryegrass is really a big part of our winter feeding program, but we try to cut the excess ryegrass and what I call overrun ryegrass for hay. If it's a good year, we may wind up with 400 or 500 rows of hay on acreage that we had planned on grazing.
Regardless of whether you're growing annual or perennial ryegrass, both are outstanding crops that produce high-quality forage and provide superior animal performance.
Your ryegrass has got to be one of the greatest grass. I guess if a cow went to heaven, they'd be eating ryegrass like this year-round.
For more information on the science and management of ryegrass, contact the Oregon Ryegrass Commission, or you can also put this disc into your computer to access additional resources. To get specific information about this forage crop in your state, visit the USDA website. The concepts expressed in this video are based upon the book Southern Forages.